Well, let's segue that into the hurricane. Talk a little bit about why the hurricane came about, what kind of market demands triggered that response for you to develop that, and go through the same process of the evolution of when that machine started to where it is today.
Okay, the hurricane machine it had a predecessor called an MPU 2425, which is in itself is just a mouthful. And I hate it now that we have our machines named after weather phenomenon, but that's just what happened. The hurricane machine came from that original idea of the MPU 2425. That machine was built a little smaller frame, a little more economical than purchasing a twister. And so we threw a little air-cooled engine on there, a little 25 horse Kohler, and we purchased some what they call suitcase weights or tractor weights and built the machine around that. And we had a really good seller and really sold a lot of that equipment. But at the end of the day, it was pretty cumbersome. And I had a customer tell me, he says, look, if you'll make that machine a foot shorter, I'll buy a lot more equipment. So we went back to the drawing board. We were able to make the machine about 16, 18 inches shorter than the previous MPU 2425. We got rid of the suitcase style cast iron weights and fabricated our own weight system on it. So we actually were able to make a smaller physical machine, and we were added almost 500 pounds of weight to it. So we wound up with a really small package, really heavy. It was a really hard hitter, and that's what we've been building ever since. Haven't made probably 15 cents worth of revisions to it over the last 15, 18 years because it's just the right size. Maybe some little small things to help us make that machine a little easier, a little better, a little easier for production. But that machine has remained pretty much the same since we incorporated it into our fleet.
So again, same question as the twister. Over the last 5 years, it sounds like there really hasn't been too many changes in the last 5 years regarding the hurricane.
No, I mean, in the last 5 to 10 years, again, we go back to the hydraulic systems. We were using an American-made pump in there, and they stopped manufacturing that pump, and they wanted us to go to a really inexpensive, real cheap pump made for the turf industry. And we again went to the European market, found some really small physical size pumps, and extremely controllable and very easy to work into the machine and work around, and they're very efficient. We went to that about 5 years ago, and boy, we've never looked back since then. The machine really has a lot better performance.
Same application question. Where would you recommend this machine be used on what applications for a contractor?
Okay, since it is a smaller unit, it's 24.5 inches wide versus the twister of 26. That's more for the office spaces, but it does still carry enough weight. It's 2,800 pounds. So it has enough weight, has enough power to do the ceramic tile and do the hardwood floors and things like that, where maybe our smaller equipment may not do that as well. I guess the biggest difference between the hurricane and the next smaller propane powered machine, the Lightning, is if you're going to get into a lot of the really tough wood flooring that's in some of the residential or some of the light commercial things like that, then the Lightning will do it, but the hurricane will do it a lot more efficient. But you're never going to have that hurricane perform like a twister. So if you've got 50,000 square feet of hardwood flooring, let's throw a twister in there. Yeah, a hurricane's going to do it, but the twister is going to be a lot better. And whenever you're traveling across the country doing these big box stores, these guys are throwing a lot of equipment in a trailer and going from one end of the country to the other. And so to be able to throw all of the supplies they need in that trailer, haul it across the country, then they may not have the weight capacity on their trailer to haul another 4,500 pound twister. So they can throw a 2,800 pound hurricane in there and still get a lot of their other equipment. You know, look, these guys are putting a floor scraper, probably a couple of diamond grinders, and then maybe some VCT tile, throwing it in there with all their, you know, possibly thin set, you know, a lot of hand tools and things. So you throw a 4,500 pound machine in there, you get rid of a lot of carrying capacity.